I got it! When I first heard about Dave being trapped in a maze...
1, 2, 3, 4!
I built a labyrinth. Can you believe it?
Dave is trapped in a cardboard maze in his living room and he can't get out.
Welcome to Dave Made a Minute, the podcast where a whole bunch of us are exploring the film Dave Made a Maze 1 minute at a time. The twist. Many of the participants have never seen the film. Some don't even know what film they're sampling. They get their minutes and they tackle them as they see fit. Here's your host from the Groundhog Day Project and Michael Myers Minute, Robert Black.
Minute 34, our paper bag puppet heroes avoid some traps, but the Minotaur catches up to them. To tackle Minute 34, we have Alex Thompson of Galaxy Quest Minute, along with Niall McGowan and John Parker of That Minute Returns.
You come home, there's a giant maze in your living room. You're like, what the? There's a giant maze in my living room. I've heard of people rearranging the furniture, but this is wackadoodle crazy. Give me a sense of that.
This doesn't make any sense.
Is that a problem? Did you promise to myself? My solution's a problem.
It's like a fucking cocktail party in here.
I get a few words from you before you go.
Welcome to Dave Made a Minute, the podcast where I didn't do enough drugs before we started recording 1 minute at a time. I'm your host, Alex Thompson. Joining me today in studio, we have our transmogrification correspondent, Niall McGowan.
Hello.
And our cardboard puppet correspondent, John Parker.
Hello.
Whoa.
I was going to try to do like a whole pretend I had now become a puppet thing, but then I was like, oh, just people will think he's got like Ray Romano on or something. That's like, oh, so
What are you talking about? I am a puppet.
Hi, I'm a puppet, and today we're looking at minute 34 of Dave Made a Maze. Minute 34 starts with everyone is cardboard! Flaily Kermit arms! And Annie is asking Dave what the hell did I type here? And Annie is asking Dave if he can get them home, and ends with the appearance of what I believe to be a cardboard Minotaur.
Is it? Again, because it's been a couple of minutes since we last were on the show. So it's just like, I've seen the movie, these two guys haven't, just in case people are like, oh, who are these people again?
Yeah, this minute really caught my attention.
So I'm going to stop talking like that.
Yeah, that was I had a sinking feeling like it's not going to be the whole episode.
I like, need not stick him in this character the whole time.
But it turns out then that's such a popular thing that John does, and then Batman it becomes like me hosting with this puppet guy. It's like,
Yeah, hi, I'm John.
it's like everyone loves it but me. I'm like, I can't do the show anymore. But the audience demands
That's my plan. It's my plan to make you leave instead of trying to kick you off. No, this minute really caught my attention, right? Because I watched this one first by mistake. So then I thought this was a movie about little cardboard puppets, like in a horror film or like in a Goonies style adventure, maybe even. I couldn't figure out the genre. So this, I was like, holy crap! This is the best thing I've ever seen.
Someone made a no-budge horror film with puppets.
Yeah. Well, yeah, Peter Jackson did it with Meet the Feebles. Yeah. that was kind of
True.
what that was. So.
I was thinking of the beginning of Team America, where they intentionally did like really crappy, your crappy marionette puppets just to get the studio execs going, what the fuck are we paying them all this money for? Oh my god, what is this? And then zoom out to like the good puppets.
I absolutely love the start of that film.
Yeah.
That's the thing, though. Like,
because that's what French people say.
And I love the way this looks. It's okay, everyone. We stopped the terrorists. Paris is in ruins.
As the Eiffel Tower has crashed onto the Arc de Triomphe.
That's the thing, though. Like, speaking of Team America, because that's obviously kind of riffing on like Thunderbirds and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. But like, I'm not too sure how big those things were in America. Although I know America made a Thunderbirds movie, a couple of years back with a soundtrack by Busted. That's how awesome it was.
Never mention that film again, or Busted.
But like, because a lot of the time though, when I was growing up, if you were like off school sick or something, and they wouldn't put on any of the good cartoons, they'd always show old episodes of like Joe 90 and Thunderbirds and Stingray and stuff like that. And
were you not into them as a kid?
No, because I always knew that there was I was a kid, grew up on like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and the Batman animated series, and then I'm like, what's this clunky puppet stuff? Well, I don't get this at all. This is crazy.
I loved it. I used to go around dressed as a Thunderbird. I had a Thunderbird birthday cake once, a big 3-dimensional Thunderbird 1.
Oh, right. Which one? Thunderbird 1 was just the rocket, wasn't it? It was
the rocket. Yeah, Thunderbird 3 was my favorite. The green. That's 3, isn't it? Yeah,
I thought that was 2.
The big green ship. No, 2 isn't 2 the red rocket? Or maybe it's 2.
I think 3's the red rocket.
3's the red rocket.
Yeah, I used to have a little toy of the red. I actually did like Thunderbird 3, and then the 4th one was like a space station or something, wasn't it?
Yeah,
or was it like
There's 4 and 5. One's a space station. One's a submarine in 2.
Yeah, I remember that. One of them spawned out of 2. You would have thought that would have been 3 in theory, unless they were like, I know we built these 2 things, and then we realized we could put a small one. I suppose it's just a paint job. We can just paint over the number. But
it's also a drill, isn't it? It can be a submarine or a drill. I think it can.
It's just like find out that like the people of Tracy Island were so cheap that they're like, we've got money to waste on paint. We built a whole freaking island here. We ain't got any money to spare.
So this is Thunderbird's Minute.
Yeah.
Let's talk about how awful Ben Kingsley was in that movie.
Yeah. It's funny, you were Team America, actually. Really, the idea basically just started from Matt and Trey just wanted to make fun of Jerry Bruckheimer and wanted to just reshoot Armageddon, use the exact same shooting script, but with puppets. And when they found out they couldn't, they said, okay, so we'll write our own Bruckheimer movie and shoot that instead with puppets.
Oh my God, that would have been so good, though. I would have loved that.
I may have it may not have been Armageddon. It may have been a different Bruckheimer film, but or a Michael Bay film. But
they're all the same.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter.
Yeah, they are.
I'm sure those guys must be ecstatic too when they realize, like, when Kim Jong-il died, that clip of him singing was in every news story, as if like the world didn't know who he was. Like, if you don't know who Kim Jong-il is, here's a puppet of him singing in Team America.
Here's a puppet of him singing in a racist accent.
If you've not been watching the news for the past 60 years, here's this guy from Korea.
He's Ronry and Sadria Roan.
Oh.
But, although that's the thing, though, because, like, what's your guys' opinions on puppets in general? Because I know some people, much like clowns, cannot stand puppets. They just, like, they find them inherently quite creepy. Whereas I don't mind them. I always find them kind of funny, no matter, even, like, you know, again, with, like, Chucky and stuff, where, like, oh, it's a living doll, but it's like, oh, it's so creepy because he just comes alive. And I'm like, he's always funny looking, though. Even when he's lying static and his eyes slightly move and it's supposed to be creepy, it's funny. It's just funny to me, but...
Yeah, I don't have a problem with puppets or clowns. I know people who have problems with clowns. I'm like, whatever, it's a guy in makeup.
Yeah.
Boogity, 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 boogity.
I really, really like puppets. I don't see the problem. Yeah. The only puppets I think are creepy are those really old-fashioned marionettes, like a Victorian-era marionette puppet, you know. They're quite creepy looking.
Well, the problem is Uncanny Valley, right? It's the idea that the closer you get to approximating human appearance, the like more uncanny it looks. So if the puppet gets to be too close to a human, something looks off and disturbing about it. That's why I think some people don't like clowns, is because it's like it's almost human, but there's something just off about it. It's like the mouth is too big, or the eyes, you know.
And then they turn into a spider and try and kill you.
Yeah.
The thing is, my thing with clowns is that I don't quite get, like, I've always asked people and no one's ever given me an answer of, like, I've always been like, well, what is a clown? Like, what's its backstory? And people are like, oh, it's like old stage makeup used to be very exaggerated. It's like, no, I know where it came, how the clown came to be. But in the clown's own mind, as a character, where is it from? Is it like an alien? Like, why is this thing with a white face disappeared? And it's like doing things, but it's doing them.
So you want the character biography of
yes.
Bozo the Clown.
Because, you know, I know, like, a werewolf will have a mythology behind it, and you'll know, like, vampires have mythology behind them. You can trace their roots. But the clown's always been like, yeah, it was a stage thing, and then we just do it now like this. And it's like, no, but what's the character origin of a clown? Like, where is it coming from? Like, what's the deal? Like, it's like, oh, kings used to have court jesters. And like, I know that. What was in the court jester's head? What role was he playing?
And why are they supposed to be funny? I don't understand that.
I think I remember a circus when I was growing up that had, like, the clowns would do the same act every year. And I guess those guys, they must have toured, and they just would have done that everywhere. But I remember they only interested me because they weren't funny. But they did a whole thing where, like, they dressed up as the Ghostbusters and, like, tried to catch ghosts in the tent and stuff. And that was the only bit I liked because I liked Ghostbusters. And I was like, well, you won me over by just making reference to a thing I like.
Yeah, there was something, I remember that kind of a little bit of innocence shattering. I went to see a Renaissance festival when I was a kid, and they did human chess. So, this person, all these people would be dressed up as pawns, and these people are rooks and knights and queens, so on and so forth. And then I went to see it another year, and I remembered a joke that they did again, and I'm like, oh, they're just following the same script.
Oh, that would really take you out of it.
It was a fun, and it was a solid joke too. One of the pawns finally gets to the other side of the board, and he gets turned into a queen, and this big burly man with a beard and long hair goes, "I'm a queen, I'm a queen," and and it's like, oh wait, I've heard that joke before. No.
Oh no, that would ruin the whole show for me.
You mean they're not improvising at all?
See, I got really disillusioned. I don't know why I was so disappointed, because I guess I should have seen it coming. Because I went to see, when I was like 16, when Green Day were touring American Idiot. I would have been older than 16 then. That would have been like 17 or 18. But like, they did a big show in Dublin. And I wasn't a massive Green Day fan, but I was like, I like them enough, I'll go to this. And there was a whole bus of us went down. There was more going for the camaraderie of the situation. And like on stage, they'd have like huge screens, and it was a very impressive stage show. But because Green Day are like a punk band or pop punk, and there's punk's all rebellion and just things been chaotic and stuff.
Yeah.
And they were jumping off speakers and like going nuts on stage. And I was like, oh, that's very impressive that they've done all that. And then they would show you like in music videos for the singles, they would just go like, oh, here's. Or even you just get, like, here's Green Day live in, like, Berlin or something. And you'd flick that on the music channels. And then I noticed, like, he jumped off that speaker at the exact same point in that song when I saw them as well. And then I realized, like, oh, everything here is perfectly choreographed. This is all of these jumping about and all this crazy stuff on stage is meticulously planned by someone who's not Green Day. Like, it's obviously someone who's like, well, make it look like it's really energetic and youthful, but, like, something the kids will like, but... Yeah, make sure that you get their hair extra spiky and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And then afterwards,
some of that is... I think that's maybe the most cynical point of view. Some of that is also, Green Day have been doing this for, 20, 30-odd years, so they've got a sense of what the good point in the song is to jump off of the speaker. And then at the same time, yeah, some of it is... And then some of it's also kind of... improvised discovery. Like you the first time you'd play this song, you jump off the speaker at that time, it's like, it's all right, and then you jump off the speaker at this beat in the song, it's like, ooh, that was better, and eventually you find the point where it's good.
Well, that's the thing a lot of people probably don't know, though, is that that there's publicly, you see there's 3 guys in Green Day, but there's actually a 4th member who shies away from the limelight. That's actually Alex Thompson, the host of Galaxy Quest Minute.
Yes, sir.
He's actually very defensive about the Green Day stage show.
Yeah.
Yes, we've uncovered the truth.
Yeah.
That's why we're the world's best investigators.
Yeah, you are the Dark Knight detectives.
Anywho.
I think his name is like Jason White or something like that, because I remember them shouting him out when they were doing their... At the end of whatever song they were finishing up a show with.
Yeah. I think I just had a lot of questions, because I didn't know that when I saw them.
Yeah.
And I was like, who's this other guy?
Yeah.
Why is he just standing there? And he seems to be playing an integral part in the songs, because he's doing a lot with the guitar and whatnot. But I was like, no. And then one of my friends who was a big fan was like, yeah, it's the other guy. There's a 4th member
the
of
other
Green
guy.
Day.
It's like the 5th Beatle, the 4th Green Day.
I don't think he was always a member. I think they brought him in. Like, I think he was originally just a touring kind of backup guitar guy, but they liked playing with him and got on with him. So I think he technically now is a member, isn't he? But he just sort of
I was always under the impression that he
to the
was
side.
I always thought he was one of the founders of Green Day, but he just didn't like the limelight of it. So he's like, I want to be part of the band, but I don't want to be like gurning into magazine covers and stuff like that. I want to be.
No, I think they brought him in for like American Idiot that kind of time, didn't they? And then
So what I'm seeing here, based on his Wikipedia, so grain of salt. So he was a friend of the band. He was in the When I Come Around video.
Oh.
And then because American Idiot had more of a rock kind of a sound and needed fuller guitar sounds than their previous stuff, he was required to basically play with the band during the tour.
Yeah.
For like the entire tour, and eventually they just kind of said like, just come be with us for all the things,
except the photo shoots.
Yeah. Well, I think he is just a touring guitarist, but like, the touring guitarist now in like half their discography. So
yeah, I think at that point you are a member of the band. Come on.
Yeah. But anywho, I suppose what's
the minutes.
Yeah, the minutes.
Well, I was going to say when I was chatting before about how I watched this first and thought, oh my god, it's like a movie with puppets and whatnot. So what's happening here? Don't ruin it, but let's just what is going on? I'm assuming then, having now seen the other minutes, that like people have transformed into these cardboard puppets, or are these creatures in the maze?
No, these are your main characters as puppets.
Have they become puppets, or is this just like a funny little visual representation?
Or are these like voodoo dolls or something of them, kind of a thing?
No, there's literally, they go down like a chute, and they just come out the other end as puppets.
They come out the poop chute as puppets?
And they're just like, well, we're puppets now, and then they go along for a bit, and then a little while down the line, they're not puppets anymore.
Oh, it doesn't carry on.
Well, you're going to see that from the next minute, John.
I was reminded of the one line I like from the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy movie. Just, Ford, I think I'm a sofa.
Great delivery as well there. Perfect.
Yeah. I know how you feel. And then they turn back into humans.
So I take it you weren't a fan of the movie then, like most people weren't.
I mean, yeah, if that was my only exposure to the material, then yeah, sure, it was fine. But obviously knowing the source material better, it's like, well, they did their best, I guess. But
did they? Did they?
I don't know. They tried.
They gave it a shot.
Yeah,
they tried. I'll give them that.
Yeah,
I mean, they cast Alan Rickman well. And Martin Freeman, actually.
Oh, yeah.
Those two guys, like, oh, yeah, even Mos Def is like, oh, yeah, you usually wouldn't think of them as, like, being an American guy, but I don't know. Maybe it even specifies in the book that he is, but I don't know. I don't recall that. But because I remember seeing the Hitchhiker's Guide show way back in the 80s. And you used to get repeats of that. I'm pretty sure if the guy who played Zaphoid and that was American, he was putting on a terrible accent.
That could be the case. Let's be honest.
Yeah. But yeah, that's the thing though, because like I think we even touched on this at one point on Batman. Like the idea of you've been transformed into something else always inherently terrifies me. But like one of my favorite movies is the Fly, like the Jeff Goldblum version of the Fly. And like, but that film really like scared the crap out of me. And a lot of horror movies actually, I love horror movies, but not because I like the atmosphere of them. I don't find a lot of them actually scary. And that's why people were talking about the new Halloween. It's like, it's not scary. It's like, none of them are scary. They're just enjoyable.
I don't know. The first one, I would say, is scary to a point.
I never got like, oh, Michael Myers could be around any corner. It's like, no, he's a made-up character in a movie. Of course he doesn't exist. Like, somebody could be around the corner, but like that could happen at any point in your life anyway.
Oh, I get freaked out easy. But the second Ring, the Japanese one, to me is just the scariest thing ever. It's horrible. I love it.
There's the thing. Again, this is getting tangential. I'll probably even lose my original point, but like one of the scariest things in the first Ring, Ringu, was not. I thought it was supposed to be a scary moment, but it turns out it was like unrelated. Where there's a bit where like the son of the main character, he's coming out of his apartment and he comes around the corner, and I think it's supposed to be his dad or something, but the family's obviously all estranged, And he's just sort of like the guy in a trench coat holding an umbrella, just staring at the kid, and they just kind of stare at each other for a minute, and then the kid walks away, and I was like, oh, that's the ghost. That's so creepy. And it turns out, no, that was nothing to do with anything to do with the videotape. But I thought that was the most chilling part. And then the bit, friggin' Sadaka coming out of the TV was like, oh, yeah, this is, I get this. But like, who was that guy in the coat, though? What happened there?
So
it was creepy.
Speaking of ghosts or smoke or something, we get this pink smoke coming out of this pipe. That is question mark? They seem to be scared of it.
I think this is the Minotaur that you may see in a bit as an indication of...
Well, the pink smoke is what? Minotaur breath? That is the herald of the Minotaur? That is...
This is the Minotaur's version of the Silver Surfer. The heralds of the Minotaur.
Yes, this is the Norrin Rad to the Minotaur's Galactus.
But,
the Vermilion Minotaur. Yeah. Sorry. Hopefully people know what I'm talking about there. You two probably don't. But
might I also point out it's pretty great that this is a Minotaur. Covering the movie by minute.
Minute 30.
I like the way...
Yes. We ourselves are Minotaurs.
I should remember
if you pronounce it the way most English people do, it doesn't work, though. We tend to say Minotaur, even though that's clearly not the way a Greek person would have said it.
Well, I think they would have pronounced it Minotaur, right? Or
probably, yeah, I would think so.
Well, because it's based on the Greek god Minos, or however you pronounce it.
I would think, with my very limited knowledge of Greek, despite having lived in Cyprus, you'd think I'd know more. I believe it would be, Minos.
Yeah.
I say my knowledge of it is from frequent Bat-Minute guest Dave Kingsmill, who does YouTube videos about mythology. I'm pretty sure she just calls it Minotaur all the time.
Yeah.
And she did a whole video about the origin of the Minotaur. People should look it up because it's quite good and very insightful. And she does it in a very funny way as well. She's not dry about it or anything.
Yeah, it's not like a history lecture or something like that. It's fun.
Yeah, she usually draws like little cartoons and stuff that'll pop up on the screen as she's telling the story and stuff. So it's pretty good. Yeah.
So we get these puppets, and they're puppeting across the screen and ducking a hammer thing.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, but the idea of people turning into puppets always reminds me of wasn't there an episode of Angel where he turns into a puppet for a bit?
Oh yeah, it's amazing.
Holy
crap!
Before
amazing.
The thing is, before I saw that episode, I didn't watch. For some reason, I couldn't get on board with Angel. I loved Buffy, and then the first season of Angel came out, and it was playing and the Irish TV would be literally you have Buffy followed by Angel. I'm sure most networks did that because it would just make sense. And Angel didn't click with me. I was like, no, I'm not enjoying this as much.
Well, let's be honest. He's not as interesting a character.
No.
To base a show around. I mean, Buffy's cool. You've got a whole crew, and they try and recreate that with Angel, but none of them are as interesting.
And the thing, so I didn't really properly watch it for ages. And then I came to, Liverpool here, went to university, and actually got to go into proper comic book stores and stuff. And I remember they had in Forbidden Planet the Angel as a puppet. And for some reason in my head, that clicked as being a really horrific thing. It's that'll be a really terrifying episode of you got turned into a puppet. And you were just, Angel's just turned into a puppet. He's a static puppet on the floor. And it's that'd be horrible. And then I saw the episode, and it's entirely played for laughs. It's
it's a comedy episode.
Yeah, I was I did not get that one right at all. But the concept of the whole,
I'm a puppet.
If I was these people, although the whole thing is these people should be freaking out a lot more than they are within the maze throughout the whole movie. They do freak out, but not if it were me, I'd be just fuck, I'm tearing down these walls. Fuck this, I'm out of here. But
a bit like Asterios Kokonos escaping the corn maze.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I'm going through the walls.
And I know they have, before people say that it's within the movie, there's a reason they can't just tear down the walls and stuff. But I would be fuck it.
I assume there's an explanation. They can't just pull out a switchblade and just cut.
Yeah. Oh, there's a whole reason that they have to complete the maze and stuff. But the thing is, if I was turned into one of these puppets, I would be mentally destroyed. I think most people would if you discovered that you were a puppet.
It's a movie
what
thing.
What if I
though,
told you you're a puppet right now? A puppet of the system.
No, it's a movie thing, though. People just accept stuff that I would be thinking about and freaking out about for about 6 months. They move on in about 5 minutes. Like, oh, okay, cool, let's deal with this. I'd be like, no, wait a minute, hang on, let me think about this. What the hell's going on?
No one in movies has anxiety or obsessive, or is obsessive unless it's played for cartoonish extent.
I want better anxiety representation, please.
This just always reminds me of the end of Last Action Hero, which again, I've defended as a movie multiple times. I think Last Action Hero's day is almost upon us, where people will stop laying into it and will finally go, oh, that's actually a pretty good movie.
It's getting a bit more of a praise now, I think, with some people younger than us even.
Yeah, because it happened with Demolition Man. Like, for years I was like, no, Demolition Man's great. And people are like, Demolition Man, pile of crap. And now people are like, oh no, Demolition Man's like a really good satire. It's like, it was always a really good satire. The world's just only finally kind of, the critical consensus has finally shifted around. And like,
I was in the same position defending that movie, with all of my heart.
And I think finally The Last Action Hero, people might go like, it's actually a lot better than people say it is. But at the end, where like Arnie's shot and they have to get him back into the theater, and Ian McKellen's talking about and all that business, and because he's supposed to be dying from his wounds, and then as soon as he's in the movie, the paramedics like, what the hell? This is just like a flesh wound. What? Can't be a big baby. And I think everything's back to the movie way of things, and
it's just a flesh wound.
And Danny DeVito's still going about as a cat and stuff, and it's like.
And the only thing I had to say about this minute is the line, why do you always have to make it so hard?
Oh, well,
oh my.
I don't really want to go into that.
Oh my.
The only other thing, like, I was trying to mine my puppet knowledge. But actually, it did remind me of, and this is the thing I advise everyone to look up, because one of the great lost TV shows. This is almost like a friggin' thing out of Creepypasta or something, but it definitely did exist. I remember when I was a kid, there was a show called The Rimini Riddle, which was an Irish TV show. And it was supposed to be for kids, but it was one of those things that's like, how the fuck was that for kids? That was scary as hell. And it's one of the things, if you look it up, there's a Facebook page that I'm a member of that's people dedicated to tracking down The Rimini Riddle. And you can get, like, stills from it. But RTE, like the station that played it, are like, we can give you out individual episodes, but it'll be €75 each. There are no plans to release it on DVD and stuff. And it seems to be like it wasn't a big hit, but the mental scars have stayed with children until now, where they're like, wait, what the fuck?
Still.
Yeah, because I remember one of the plot lines. Well, they had a whole thing with, like, there's a bunch of these little kids, and the puppets. I'll send a link to, like, so people can see this, like, whatever, on the Twitter or Facebook for the show here. But, like, the puppets were horrifying looking, and they were just humans, but they just looked they were trying too hard to be realistic. So they had like an old woman puppet that just looked like this leather mess and stuff. And these kids went to live with her in her. I think it was kind of like Round the Twist. I think she lived in a lighthouse or something. And she always had a painting on the wall of these two little girls who apparently had committed suicide. And the painting would come to life on occasion and stuff. And it'd be sometimes, it was kind of like Twin Peaks. Sometimes it was like just complete soap opera about what the teenagers were up to. And then they go into like this weird subplot. And they had a whole thing where the youngest kid had a little toy called, I think it was called Milo, and and he used to constantly talk about Milo's talking to me, like they used to just like, and they're like, oh, it's like his imaginary friend, and then you found out in the show that no, Milo is talking to him. The doll is possessed, and this whole thing was that at the end of it, there was supposed to be a thing of it was going to lead him. Milo was a thing from another dimension that would lure children in, so its masters could like eat kids basically. And this was a long drawn out plot line and stuff.
Holy crap!
And it was really, really fucking creepy. And like when you went into the other dimension, they would flip the image to negative, so everything was like the wrong color and stuff like that. And like there was another one as well, because like when I think Milo got a conscience, and then he didn't want to kill this one kid. And then they sent another one, I think it was a it might have been a ball or something, called Otto, who was even more evil than he was and stuff. And it was really like, it was terrifying stuff when you were a kid, because it was all very, very subtly played, where like literally just be like the doll's head was sort of slightly turned and stuff. And he was like a little purple otter or something like that. And
What the hell?
Yeah, it was creepy stuff, man. But like the thing is, though, it's one of those things. Like the show definitely did exist, and there are people are like, this actor was in it, but there's no proper like release. You can't just go on YouTube and you can get like 1 or 2 clips from it, but they're just random out of context clips of like just something. Yeah, this was just in an episode, and it's. But I do investigate if we can get people to properly now go and hammer the RTE hard. We can finally solve the Rimini riddle. And get a goddamn release for that show, because I'm pretty sure it'll be it'll be terrible now if I watch it nowadays. But like it does have one of those things of like, no, that was a lot of sleepless nights watching that show. I would like to see it again in full, just to exercise that demon personally. But,
so when are we doing a podcast exercising this demon then?
well, then we can, because there's not much footage of it. It would be pretty much me saying exactly what I said there now. And been like,
we will find it.
Speaking of kids shows that were like too dark and also puppets, did the TV series Dinosaurs make it across the?
Oh yeah.
It wasn't very big among people I knew, but I did see it.
Yeah. That like every episode was for the most part was fun family sitcom, and then the finale is either the volcano or the comet or whatever.
I think it's the comet, isn't it?
I think it's a comet, and then everyone dies.
Yeah, isn't it like the last shot? I seem to remember. It's like a
everyone
newsreader.
just kind of, or I feel like the last shot was like everyone huddled together in fear, just sort of like grimly facing their fate.
And it's just after the newsreader basically says like,
we're all gonna die.
The climate's now changed because of the comet, and we're all gonna die. And he like signs off for the last time, and then you see them all huddled together. It's like, holy crap! Oh my god!
Well, to be fair, that's probably realistically what happened when the dinosaurs saw the comet coming.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. It's more realistic than it's probably depicted in a lot of other things.
Yeah.
And it took a couple of million years for humans to discover red checkered shirts themselves. That they're like from artifacts.
And now they make up most
clothes.
of. Now they make up most of my wardrobe.
We had to re-engineer it from the fossils of old dinosaurs.
Yes.
I wish I could remember. It's been so long since I read it. There was this really cool. I think it was a short story, and then it got adapted into a longer story. Isaac Asimov wrote a story called Nightfall about it's this planet that's entirely in day. It's because it's just surrounded by like 6 suns or whatever, and there's one day every million years or something like that where it turns to night. Basically all the suns are set for one day every like million years, and so they're just kind of investigating this world, because most people, if it's every million years, you don't necessarily know about it, and so they're investigating their world, and they see, like they're the ruins of this civilization about 1 million years ago, and it just seemed like all of a sudden everyone just went crazy and civilization just collapsed, and then like 1 million years before that there was a civilization. And then everyone just went crazy, and like everything just collapsed. And eventually, I think they figure out it's because, they've only seen, you don't see the night but once every 1 million years, and the sight of the stars in the sky just like drives everyone mad, and civilization collapses. And it's
cool.
And I'm like, it's so dark and grim.
It's gonna be like, I was expecting it to have that. Almost a South Parky kind of twist there, where like,
no.
Wait a minute, it was exactly this many years since between them, but how many years is it now until the next one? Oh
yeah,
my God.
I think it is. I think it does come up towards that. It does. I think that is where it eventually ends up. It's like, we're coming up to about 1 million years. We're about due for our nightfall. Anyway, we are pretty off topic. So, anything else for minute 34 here?
No, I think you should mention that it ends on the humorous note of you assuming that this monstrous Minotaur is about to appear, and then it's like a little puppet Minotaur, and it kind of ends on a very nice shot of just a glib puppet, just sort of puppets just staring at it. And it's like, that's pretty funny.
Yeah, but it's still terrifying to them, though.
Yeah. Well, if they're about the size of, I mean, this puppet is about the size of them, so this is about a man-sized Minotaur.
Yeah, it's huge. That's big. I'd be terrified of that thing coming at me.
Yeah, I wouldn't be thrilled to see a man-sized Minotaur, which we might get to see later on in this movie. So, fellas, you want to plug your things, or I'll plug my things?
Yeah, I'll take it away this time, because I'm a narcissist. Clearly. Right, yeah. Yeah. If you enjoy listening to us for whatever reason, I don't know why you would. No, please do enjoy it. Please come and check us out, because we host the Bat Minute podcast, where we go through the Batman movies 1 minute at a time. As of recording this, we are currently going through Batman Returns, which is my favourite one. So it's wonderful. I love every episode. And you can find us just everywhere. Just look us up. We're on Facebook. We have the Bat Minute Listeners Cave. We're on Twitter at Bat Minute. Give us a review on iTunes as well once you check us out, because that's very helpful.
And as for me, you can check me out on Galaxy Quest Minute, Independence Day Minute, and Cleveland and Six Going Deep into Major League. All of those will be on your podcatcher of choice, same place you find Bat Minute. Also, check all of us out guesting on various other people's Minute shows. And yeah, all right, join us. Well, not join us, I guess. We'll be back sometime much later, but join somebody for minute 35, I guess. Yeah, that's a thing. Yeah, until then, go make a maze.
Bye!
And then I could probably disarm all the traps, and then we could finish this maze. Who is with me?
That was Alex Thompson of Galaxy Quest Minute, along with Niall McGowan and John Parker of Bat Minute Returns, taking on minute 34 of Dave Made a Maze. They will be back in minute 71. Next time on Dave Made a Minute, we've got me, Robert Black of Michael Myers Minute, taking on minute 35.
Thank you for listening to Dave Made a Minute. Intro dialogue snippets were taken from Dave Made a Maze, directed by Bill Watterson, written by Bill Watterson and Steve Sears, and produced by John Charles Meyer. Intro music is Diversion by The Equals, featured in the film Dave Made a Maze, and Life Cycle of a Match by Parvis Decree. Outro music is Leaving This Godforsaken Place and Her Presence is Strong Here by Parvis Decree. Dave Made a Minute is a production of Lemming Drop Studio and all other featured podcast producers. You can find more content at lemmingdrops.com. Check us out on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram at Dave Made a Minute. If you like what you hear, throw us a rating and review on your podcatcher of choice, and check out all of the participants' other shows to spread the love around. Again, thank you for listening.
As long as we're all working together, this is going to be fine. It's going to be great.
I need you to notify the families of everyone who died here today.
Totally. Wait, what?